everyone. Welcome to the channel. This is your host Mahmoud from Axion AI. Today we have a very special guest. We have John Gillespie with us. John has a long list of profile, but currently he is the CEO and founder of Beyond the Bottom Line and scaling nonprofits. John, welcome to the show. And
Thank you very much.
yeah, I will have you introduce yourself a little bit so the viewers can know who you are and um, what are you up to.
So I'll give you a brief history. I got my MBA in 1977 and then spent the next 20 years working with a variety of corporations as either a financial analyst, controller, or CFO. The last one's usually CFO of 30 to $45 million organizations. And then in 97, I had read this book, but it's something inspired me, and I decided to go off on my own. And I needed to create my own destiny. So I started Beyond the Bottom Line, offering, interim acting or fractional CFO services. We also offered outsourced accounting, which is like bookkeeper, accountant, controller. And then we also had an executive search business. So we were, located in New Jersey, New York, and then we moved to DC. So we're in DC, Virginia, Maryland, and and then when I was in New York, a friend and I combined, and then we sold that company to kind of a large kind of quasi CPA firm. I stayed for a year, and that was in 2003. So in 2004, when I left, I decided that I was really going to focus on nonprofits. I was working too hard, and I wanted to help people that maybe didn't have as many resources. So I grew that business to 1,400,000. Then someone else wanted to buy it. So I sold that business to Veris Consulting in 2011 and stayed until 2013. And then I joined Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health as the VP Finance and CFO. I was there for almost 3 years. And then I joined another outsourcing business where I knew the CEO called Charles River CFO. And I was there 7 years. So yeah, I've been in, I call it the plug and play business for quite a while. And it's great. I've worked with over 200 companies, gotten to know a lot of people, and, just been very soul satisfying. Let's put it that way. In addition to income, it's, for the most part, it's really been a very satisfying career move.
Got you. Cool. Yeah, it sounds like a long list of achievements there. Can you explain a little bit more about the plug and play? Why would you call
Yeah.
it like how does that make?
So some of the work is what I call bridge the gap CFO. So recently, I was the interim CFO at Sweetser, $155 million. 155? No, it's 55
Mm.
for about 6 months. Then in 2019, I was the interim CFO at the Berkshire Dakota Community Foundation for about 6 months. So, part of the business is someone has left an organization, the CFO, the board and senior management are looking for a new CFO, but they need someone to still get the work done over a period of time because it could take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. So that had been kind of a staple of my business. That's one business line, which is these kind of 6 month interim between full-time CFOs. There are other times when people would hire us one day a week, like a one day a week CFO, 1 or 2 day a week controller on our staff, where we were the accounting staff, where the organization didn't have any accounting staff at all besides us.
Hmm.
So that's really the outsourced accounting piece where we would do all the accounting for an organization. And then, at times there are special projects. Someone wanted an indirect rate cost calculation for their business, which if you get federal grants at the time, is a very important thing to understand how it's all put together mathematically. Our, there are times when we with my search partner at the time, we analyzed the recruiting practices at the time, I guess was about a 50 million nonprofit, 50 million. And I had been the CFO, interim CFO in 2004 when they were a $20 million nonprofit.
Mm. So
So
it's
part of it
almost
is
double,
is
double plus more, right?
yeah, part of it's bridge the gap. Part of it is, we're your accounting team and we could be there for 1, 2 years or longer. And then the other one is just special projects. It could be recruiting, it could be compliance, it could be, cost management, different ideas like that. So that's kind of how the business works.
Hmm.
But part of it is it's helping leaders in their organizations become more successful and financially sustainable. And that's the I call it that's the river that runs underneath it. We're always trying to do that. It's not just doing the numbers. It's how do we also educate? How do we also teach? How do we also mentor? So that's part of the equation.
Got you, got you. Cool. So this is a very interesting sector, as you bring that up. How do you how do you get your clients? How do you get in touch with the client? So there's a twofold question. One, how do you, so you're solving a very specific problem and then it's kind of customized, like different companies have different needs and different time length and different departments, CFO versus accounting
Yeah.
versus whatnot. So how do you how do you find a potential client who would need this kind of help? That's one question. And probably a follow-up question would be, why would the client pick you? What do you do
Yeah.
better than your competitors, if there is any? Because I haven't heard of any company that specifically does like multiple different uh, plug and play, as you mentioned. So yeah.
So how do I get new clients? So, I have a philosophy, and I think that a lot of the people in the industry know this is I always say this to people, I want to do my best work. Sometimes I get paid for it and sometimes I don't.
Hmm,
So, I was never really over concerned with trying to milk the last dollar out of an engagement.
hmm,
I wanted to do what I thought were, very sound business practice and results for clients. So part of it, they always knew that I wasn't trying to get the extra, 10 cents and that I was really trying to deliver value for them. I think once again that came through. I think the other thing, this is how you get clients is, I'm usually pretty curious, very curious. So I'm on LinkedIn a lot. So I'm seeing posts, I'm seeing uh, once again, I've been in the nonprofit industry for quite a while. So part of it is I know of a lot of people and I can see a lot of people and I can understand what people are doing. So there are times when I can see someone that I think is really doing some interesting work. I would message them on LinkedIn, or maybe I would find someone that knows somebody. So I'd start relationships like that.
hmm.
Um, the other thing I did, and I have to figure out where I got this. So I got this from there's a concept called the influencer circle.
Hmm.
And Mahmoud, I can send this to you as I can send you some follow-up information.
Yep.
So think of your client in the middle of this circle, but then think of all the people in the outside circle. which are, funders, associations, other consultants like development, tech, HR, CPA firms, insurance brokers, banks. So part of it is I wasn't just focused on how do I get to this client.
Hmm.
I often felt like networking with these group of people that are out there selling clients just in a different service place than I was. So I
Hmm.
built up a lot of those relationships. And at times, a potential client would say to CPA firms referred a lot of business. I referred business to them. They would say, our CFO just left. What do you suggest? And some of them would say, well, you should call John Gillespie and be on the bottom line. So
Hmm.
part of it is by having those relationships that
The
are not
networking
just
and
client
relation.
centric,
Hmm.
is those people are in touch with hundreds and hundreds of people.
Right, right. You know
The other
someone that
thing,
knows someone that knows someone.
what's that?
You know someone that knows someone that knows someone, and
Yeah,
eventually someone
yeah,
needs the services and someone needs help. That's
yeah,
that's very smart, actually.
yeah, yeah. So I'll give you something else so we produced a webinar on October 15th on managing rising healthcare costs.
Hmm.
And, we did some blasts on LinkedIn, we did some email stuff. I sent out 75 personal invitations
Hmm.
by emails that were they were customized. These were people I knew. Most of them I had had some kind of relationship with.
Hmm.
So I think about 25 of them responded, and a bunch of them want to have calls.
Hmm.
So literally, and then I marked down on I've got a little sheet where I track all this stuff. So I'm going to end up having, I don't know, 30 or 35 calls to reinvigorate my network
Out of that 75 invitation,
out of the 75. Yeah,
that's almost 50%.
I know, I know. Mahmood, stick with me. You're going to be very successful. No, I get it. Part of it is, I've been around for, some decades,
Mhm.
and I've worked with a lot of people. I've helped people, and, they know I'm very authentic and sincere. So if I make a request, and once again, I have personal relationships with them. Listen, I don't know their every family member, but I have a relationship with them. So I can communicate with them and they can respond. I mean, some people in these emails had some of their staff attend the webinar. Other people say, listen, I'm out of town, but I want to have a call. So part of it is the the networking game can't be a one and done.
Mhm.
And you have to keep going out there and, talking to people,
Yep.
especially people that know you well,
Right.
because they're the ones. Yeah, I don't know if I sent something. I mean, listen, I got an email from someone 2 weeks ago
Mhm.
that I talked to 6 years ago. It was a friend of a friend, and he called up, this organization I'm working for is looking for a treasurer.
Mm,
And then
interesting.
I looked at the description and I said, well, my sense is you need a fractional CFO 1 day a week
Mhm.
because you're trying to make your treasurer the CFO. And he's very capable. That's what he did. I said, it's not a sustainable strategy. You don't want your treasurer to be the CFO. You've got, I don't know, it's
Mhm.
$9 or $10 million organization. You've got too many things going on.
Right.
You need someone to be strategic in the business and then have the treasurer do what the treasurer does. So part of it, that was a contact from years ago. I haven't, I think I talked to this guy 2 or 3 times, 5 or 6 years ago. But part of it is I left an impression and, you know. So let me also say, I mean, you had two questions. So why do clients, I know, don't make it too much noise here. So the reason clients would choose us is what we just talked about. They would often get a strong referral from someone. And especially if it's your CPA firm or another executive director, once again, all of this, 95% of it's nonprofit. So part of it is if you get a good referral, you go to the head of the line in terms of just people that may respond to job postings or things like that. So I would often get strong referrals from my network about potential clients. And there were times when I'd be the sole source. I'd be the only one the client was talking to once
Mhm.
after the referral. I think the other thing, and this is for me, is that, I've been a CFO for 37 years and uh, 27 years as I call it the plug and play fractional or interim.
Mhm.
So I've worked with 210 or so organizations. I've seen all sorts of good things and not so good things. So I don't, I guess I don't get nervous when things don't go right.
Of course, you
And I've
probably
seen
have
it.
seen some version of it.
Yeah, I've seen some versions. Yeah, I've lived through it. Yeah, I used to have more hair before that. Yeah, um,
That's called experience, my friend.
yeah, yeah. No, so
The
part of it is, I think, but I'll just tell you something about the industry is the industry has kind of exploded in growth.
Mhm.
So, most sizable CPA firms have an outsourced accounting business.
Mhm.
Then there are other organizations like I worked with, which is Charles River CFO.
Mhm.
The one I work with in DC called Veris is now called the Vaults. So they're a bunch of separate organizations. So they're, probably maybe like the proliferation you see with
Mhm.
AI consultants and companies, is the whole industry is, there are a lot more players. So, the depth and breadth of an organization comes into play, the cost factor comes into play. So, yeah, I know the industry pretty well. So part of it is, and as I said, I want to be reasonable with our fees. So part of it, I'll give you an example. So a friend called up in my network and said, these two people are looking potentially for an outsourced accounting solution.
Mhm.
So I had a call with them. And then I basically laid out, here are the four outsourced accounting firms I would talk to. Here are two models of pricing in the industry. So I basically gave them a little one pager on how to, you know, evaluate things. So
And you didn't pitch yourself as the
no,
good
no, no. I
one,
no,
but they just yeah.
they were busy, you know, starting some businesses down south and
Mhm.
different locations. So no, part of it is they hired someone else that wasn't on my list. They never came back to me. But part of it is my job was just to do job one.
Mhm.
Have a call. Here's the industry. Here's how it's priced. If you need me to help you, I'll help you.
Yep,
But part of it
absolutely.
is I can't, and I followed up a couple times, but I can't, lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. No, people make their own decisions, but
Absolutely, yeah.
listen. So I would call that a mini consulting project that you know didn't bear fruit. But there's a lot of it. I mean, I think when I was in the bit from 2004 to 2011, I should have had these stats for you. So I think probably 60% of the calls, people inquiring about our business
Mhm.
resulted in some kind of meeting.
Mhm.
And if we did a proposal, about 35 to 38% of those turned into clients. So we had a good understanding if we could get to the call and do a proposal, we had a very good chance of securing the business. Part of it, I studied it a lot. I was in it all
Absolutely,
the time. So we understood the metrics of it. So at some point, we just want to go out and touch as many people as we could.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I could touch 50 or 100 people more, the likelihood of more things coming to the top of the funnel was going to start to grow.
Right. So
So does that
see
give you,
the
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, sorry to cut you off.
No,
So see the difference between so what you're doing or you have been doing is what current modern day business they do it as well, but
yeah,
they do it more of a on a scale. Like let's say you go out there and talk to 10 businesses or 20 businesses and 30 businesses. They know your face, they know your what you're
yeah,
offering, they know your value, they know your real person. As
yeah,
opposed to now there are 5,000 companies sending out 100,000 offers and emails and whatnot. People, even if they have the need, they don't have that urge or trust to go ahead and talk to the person or team because there are like so many offers and so many everybody's doing it for free or some ridiculous offer that's going on. So what I'm sensing from your let's call it strategy is
yeah,
more of gaining the trust by kind of showing your cards. It's not, you're not
yeah,
hiding anything. You're just basically coming up front with what you have to offer. And sometimes you probably would help without, expecting something to get back. And that builds the trust. That brings out the next step of the in the funnel, what we want to call
yeah.
it. And then they have that relationship.
Yeah, and they listen, a lot of people in my network, like the one I just told you about the outsourcing proposal. So part of it is they know that I'll do a good job to move it from point A to point B, regardless of whether I get the assignment. I mean, I couldn't do four iterations of that. I would then ask them if you want me to do this, you should hire me to help you execute this. But here's the layout about how you can go after this. I think part of it is you're right. The network has to trust you. The people have to trust you. But I'm on two boards as the treasurer. I'm on another with another nonprofit on the finance committee. I'm a SCORE mentor. So part of it, I go back to I want to do my best work. Sometimes I get paid for it or not. So people know, excuse me, if they call me up, I'll spend the time. If it's an hour or two. I mean, in fact, there's a place where we've held some beer tastings, and they have it's kind of a I don't know what to call it, not a pub, but it's kind of a place where they hold food related classes and stuff. So they're hiring a new development director, and the executive director made an introduction and said, "Hey, can you share your insights around development, events, and things like that?" So I responded and said, "Well, you should be looking at this. You should be looking at membership. You should be looking at sponsorship data. And then when you do that, we'll sit down and have a chat." So I just do stuff like that. And part of it is everything you do in life has impact. And
Of
when you do
course.
stuff like that, people remember it.
Yeah.
People, so it works. What goes around comes around.
Absolutely. You touch base about a little bit about your work with nonprofit. So scaling nonprofit is one of your other businesses. You want to talk a little bit about it? What is it about and
Yeah.
what does it do?
So I'm going to read a little bit here just because it's
Sure.
make it more understandable. So we collaborate with executive directors, boards, and management who care about growing strategically to scale their impact and improve their bottom line. So what we do is, we have advisory calls, pro bono calls with people. We do assessments. I could be assessing, you know, your accounting department. My partner is the chief marketing officer. So there are times when we do assessments. We do some, 2 to 4 hour pro bono consulting. Well, basically, this is a little bit more than that. Here's the outsourcing industry. uh, experience. So there are times when we'll, you know, I just finished working with someone now, probably by 6 to 8 hours. I got referred by the nonprofit center of the Berkshires to a potential. So we've worked probably over the last year on his budget and some governance issues and how they can hire a new executive director. And then we have a pretty big network. So if you, once again, probably not in the AI world, but if you said to me, hey, I need a referral about an insurance broker who could do X, Y, and Z,
Hmm.
or we're looking to go out and get quotes for a new audit firm. Who would you suggest and how would we do it? So we can refer people to a lot of people in our network. And then the last piece is education. So we just had a webinar on managing rising healthcare costs on October 15th. We're doing one on November 15th about sponsorship, our second one on sponsorship. We did a live event in March this year in Boston. Then we're just about to upload our first podcast tomorrow. We have a program called On a Mission, which is executive directors, part of it, uh, mentoring other executive directors from their own experience. So we have some executive directors doing that. And then tomorrow we're recording a consultant advising executive directors. So we have two webinars this fall. We're probably going to have 6 podcasts, 16 overall before May, two more webinars in the spring. We're producing a lot of content,
Hmm.
write a lot. My partner writes a lot. We write a lot. So, we're doing a bunch of education things.
If
And
somebody's interested, how can they find all this information? Is it in your website, or is there certain links
yes,
that we
yes,
can share?
scalingnonprofits.org. And you'll see my partner and I, Kim, and things we've done. And yeah, there are a bunch of resources from things that we did in the spring that you could access. You could also
Mhm.
email us and want to have a conversation. Um, yeah, the trying to think of one more thing. The goal is to help introduce people to some new ways of thinking. So, people may be brought up in an organization or grow in an organization, and this is how we do sponsorship, let's say.
Mhm.
And we have a very experienced sponsorship expert, and she has a much more detailed and kind of intense process that makes a lot of sense. So
Mhm.
our job is to, in a way, challenge people in a nice way to say, what if you thought about sponsorship differently? In fact, we're just going to get a testimonial from someone who went to our program in March.
Mhm.
So part of it is my partner had been around, is we can advise people pretty quickly about different topics. So instead of a long, someone says, what should I do? I said, well, here are 4 accounting firms in Massachusetts that you could contact and you could use my name. Or there's 4 in Maine that you could use my name.
Mhm.
Or I'm looking for, so part of it is, besides the referrals, we're writing some great content articles about HR, about CFO stuff. Part of it is it's all reaching out. It's all the same thing. We want to help senior leaders and organizations succeed. So,
Got you, got you. Cool. Yeah, it's very interesting. We're coming towards the end of our time. I have just a few more questions.
yeah, go on.
I want to quickly touch base on, as you know about us, we are a AI-based company. We build custom AI solution for small to medium-sized companies and so on and so forth. And, you have probably seen or heard in last, few years, starting from as soon as OpenAI started, like 2022 or onwards, there's a massive shift in technology towards AI and stuff. Has your business been impacted by it, or did it make any difference? If so, how?
No, so let me just tell you what we do on the tech side. See,
Mhm,
once again, it's probably very low tech in your world, but no, listen, we do a lot of emails, we do a lot of texts,
mhm,
uh, phone calls, uh, website, LinkedIn, Zoom, podcast, webinars. So AI hasn't, the only thing that AI has probably done is, and once again, I can't prove it. It's just that, all of a sudden there's so much more noise out there.
mhm,
There's so many other options.
mhm,
AI could tell you, well, there's 12 other webinars you should go to if you
mhm,
really wanted to understand that topic. So part of it is I'm not going to say competition, but there's a lot more. And once again, I don't know if it's all AI generated. It could be.
mhm.
Um, but our business is really highly personal. So AI, I'm not sending my mailing list to AI and say, hey, why don't you go out and contact my network and source some new business for me? I don't know what it would, I'm just, it's not what we do.
Understand. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That doesn't mean there are other organizations that, CPA firms we see that are using AI for accounting tasks and marketing. It's not what we do.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. No. Cool. You're one of the very few people who said that because everyone I talked to, everybody's moving towards AI, whether they need or not, or they just want to slap that AI title in either their company or in their roadmap and so on and so forth. Because that's the buzzword, that's what's selling, and whether or not it's a bubble, but that's how it seems like everybody's moving towards that. Do you see
Yeah, and
any
the relation.
similarities in with the dot-com bubble? Because I was probably too young for that.
No, no, no. Yeah. Well, dot-com bubble, the real estate bubble. There's a lot more talk about the AI bubble.
Hmm.
People are questioning, I don't know, when you spend you know, $3 billion on 10 data centers, what's the return? So at some point in time, and once again, I'm not giving an opinion, but part of it is there's some noise about out there about everyone rushing to do stuff.
Hmm.
And what's the return look like?
Right.
What's the business model look like?
Right.
It's the same thing with like, all these Paramount and Disney and Comcast. They want to keep buying each other. The question is, you know, what's the business model? No, just part of it is I don't know. I think everyone's jumped on the bandwagon, and at some point the bandwagon gets overloaded and the wheels fall off.
Right.
That doesn't mean that AI is going to blow up the world, but
Hmm.
that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, if you're building like 10 of the same or similar product at the same time, not all 10 are going to dominate the market, right? There's going to be one or two player who dominates the market. The others either faded away or gets bought up, like the Paramount and Disney's and all that. But eventually, I feel like again, it's a personal opinion. Eventually, I feel like the dust will settle, and the people who have a business plan, who has a
Yeah.
ROI calculated, will probably be the winner, and the noisemaker will probably slowly fade away. Or, if there's something good, they'll probably be bought out.
Yeah, I think my sense is, how do you, with your business, use AI to help your customers
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
get the testimonials, get the stories, get the specifics, because I think part of it is because it's still a new thing,
Hmm.
people are trying to understand the value part.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I think you listen, you're on the ground floor and you have the opportunity to really, get a hold of some of these different concepts.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
um, do it before the bubble bursts. No, you kidding. I like humor. I like humor. So,
And no, so our business policy is kind of we the moment we talk to a business, the first thing we want to make sure that we're not in a business of getting rid of people. We're not here
yeah.
to, lay off people. It might end up at some point be that way, but that's not our main goal. That's not our main business. We have a powerful tool. A lot of people don't know how to use it or the
Yeah.
right uses of it. So if we can mold it to a custom solution for a specific business to solve a specific problem, that helps the business out. And obviously, if I help a business out, that'll help our business out as well. So that's the game plan that we try to provide, and that's how we try to approach businesses. But again, there's a lot of noise out there, to be honest, and business is interesting right now, for lack of better
Well,
words.
no, you're right. And I think part of it is there are a lot more people using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So I'm
Hmm.
on LinkedIn. I've been on
Hmm.
for, I don't know, 13 years.
Yeah.
So there are a lot more people using Navigator. And
Hmm.
I'm sure that Navigator has some kind of AI option
Hmm.
because uh, no, I just keep getting, invites about, lead generation. Do I want to hire? Actually, I found a firm that was really pretty good. I
Hmm.
cut through the noise. So I finally, not going to use them yet. But so part of it is, I'm getting emails from people that want to have a 10-minute call.
Hmm.
They, I have no idea. Either they just don't get it. I have no idea who you are. And how did you find me? It's not that how you found me, but it's all of a sudden it's like these things like pop up out of nowhere. And I just, I don't respond, or I respond and say just no thanks right now. So,
Yeah, yeah. No, makes sense. Makes
so
sense.
Mahmoud, you want to go old school? Call me up and I'll get you an old school division there. You'll have two businesses. You'll have the AI business and you'll have the old school business. Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, like I firmly believe in the personal touch because that's what you just mentioned. Like you get 10, 15 messages. We run advertisement, we generate leads too, but again, what makes you different than the other uh, competition or noises will probably end up staying rather than
Yeah.
getting ignored or being
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
no thanks.
Yeah.
Last question for you. We're
Yeah.
almost at time. So we are a comparatively new business. We were building the product for a while, but we went live, earlier this year. So, less than a year old. So as a new business leader, business founder, what is your advice to me or, Axion AI?
Yeah. I think one of the things you could do, where are you located?
New York City.
Yeah. I would look at opportunities for you to do speaking engagements at some kind of lunch groups. I'll give you an example. I'm here in Topsom, Maine, next to Brunswick, and in our community, they have this lunch and learn once a month.
Hmm.
So someone would come and present a topic. You ought to look at opportunities to speak to, 20 or 30 people
Hmm.
about AI, explain it, explain how they could use it. It could be small businesses, because part of it is you want to have visibility in the marketplace that's beyond the the laptop screen and getting out there and get people to know you. I think it helps, and it helps to share with these small businesses, okay, you've heard all about this thing. Here's how you could actually use it.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Or, do some, other Zoom webinars where you've kind of got a how to. I think part of it is, as I said, there's a lot of noise,
Hmm.
is how do people really incorporate it to create value in their organizations? If you can answer that question, but part of it is you need to, maybe you should be writing some, one pagers that you can post on your website, or you
Hmm.
should, listen, you could do events at your local library or, Chamber of Commerce, or, there are probably a bunch of different organizations that, are looking for someone to speak intelligently about AI and how to create value with it. So I think part of it is getting out there in the community and getting known for stuff. Then all of a sudden they say, we listened to this guy Mahmood like in October, and he
Hmm.
really made a lot of sense. You should give him a call. Part of it is that's what goes viral. You want people referring you to other people after they've seen you in some, either on Zoom or in person or things like that.
Hmm.
Um,
Very interesting. Yep.
yeah. Then I think you should be identifying your champions. What I mean by that is, people in business that will really championing you and promote you. Who are those people? Now, in other industries they call them influencers, but
Hmm.
who is it? Is there someone at a CPA firm or a law firm or, insurance broker that really believes in you, that really knows you, that could think of it as almost sponsoring you?
Yeah. Yeah.
They could go out and do an email to, four or five or 10 of their contacts and say, if you really want to find out how to use AI, you should call Mahmood.
Yeah.
There are people out there that, and listen, we use that too.
Hmm.
People out there that really believe in you, that want to help you succeed. You've just got to find a way to give them a tool to make that happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
Well,
Yep. Cool. Lots of things to think about.
I'll give you
John.
one more thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone gave this
Absolutely.
to me in May of 1998 when I first started out in the interim CFO world.
Hmm.
It was a salesperson. They said, when you meet someone, say, I work with blank who want to do this.
Mm.
So I said, I initially, as I work with small business owners that want to run their accounting department efficiently. I don't know what I said. It was like,
Something along the
yeah,
line.
but listen, you work with, senior leadership teams at organizations on how to use AI to create value. It's
Hmm.
amazing. I tell you, when I first did it, I was stumbling on how to say it, but all of a sudden someone said, maybe we should talk. I work with who want to do this.
Right.
It's just very subtle, but it works.
Hmm. Interesting. So I work with small
Yeah,
businesses
you
that
work with
does.
small business
Hmm.
CEOs
Hmm.
who want to invest in AI and get economic value for their organization, whatever the
Absolutely.
statement is. And part of it is because part of it is if you're talking to, a CEO or a small business person, all of a sudden they relate because you're saying I
Hmm.
work with. So, hey, this guy works with people in my, my boat, my neck of the woods. And then
Hmm.
you tell them what you do. It's very subtle and it worked. It's magic.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Especially that other person on the other side had some sort of need that my sound kind of resonate to him. It instantly makes a connection. Yep.
Yeah, and the work with part makes the connection for you're a small business person, they're a small business person, or
Mhm.
it works. That's all.
Cool. John, we're at time. Thank you
Okay.
so much. This has been very enlightening conversation. I hope you had some fun as well.
Oh
Uh,
no, no, it's great. No, it's you've made me your questions were good. I made me think about a lot of things, and obviously I've got to explore AI more because I've got an AI deficiency. So
There are lots of medication out there for that.
yeah, that's right. That's too much medication. Yeah.
Thank you, John. Thank you for being on the show. I will list all the information that we discussed about in the show um, in the description. And thank you, everyone, for staying um, till the end. And if you want to know a little bit more about John and his company or Axion AI and how to incorporate AI into your business, there's going to be a link in the description as well. You can check out our website and learn more about it. And also, we can start a quick call and take things from there as well. Thank you so much for staying, and I will see you in the next one.